BMW's X3 is a pretty familiar sight on South African roads, but there's always something special in the range, and here comes the special one because we have tested a few of the other models along the way already. You've of course got everything that's normal. You've got the adaptive LED headlights, you've got scoops and skirts and everything over there, but then check here and you'll see already you're starting to see something a bit different because you've got lovely 21-inch mag wheels. Just cut it. You move back, of course, that's an important little sign and signal over there, the M badge. And it's not just an M kit. Just keep that in mind. The rest of it is very standard X3. You can come across and have a look. I'm not going to show you too much right now. But you also check this pretty significant spoiler over the rear hatch. And then, of course, that badge is what makes all the difference in the world. X3M Competition. And this is a real M car. It's not an M concept or an M accessorized one. It's also given away by, check those, on either side, 2 large bore exhausts. There's lots of signals because this is the real thing, the X3M Competition. What that tells you is it's got a 3-liter petrol engine and it puts out 375 kilowatts, 600 newton meters of torque in a family SUV. It, in my book, fits into that somewhat crazy category, but damn, it can be fun. Let's check it out inside as well. On the road, of course, there where it's special is, watch this. That's the kind of capability you have out of this family SUV. And I've got to keep calling it a family SUV because it seems so ridiculous to have this kind of performance potential in a car of this sort. But you've got to be careful on speed bumps. That's the other side of it, and that's where I mentioned the hard suspension. It really, of course, trade-off. It's called trade-off, and it's a good word because it always comes into everything. These are pretty mean speed bumps, and believe me, you've got to really, really take them slowly, otherwise you're going to have a problem. But then you can just go around the corner and put foot for a second or two again and listen to that roar and that engine sound, and I think it's pretty addictive, quite honestly. It's such a car of contrasts and of different parts and of just, what is it you want? Do you want absolute fun, manic performance vehicle, or do you want, can I call it the mom's taxi? Because it can just play both of these roles pretty well depending on what, where and how. So that's what makes it, in my book, a lot of fun. But there's prices to pay for the fun, the cost of the car itself, etc. But you can afford it. I think it's worth the fun, quite honestly. That's my opinion, but that's just my humble opinion, quite honestly, and one would have to just think very, very carefully. But overall, bit crazy, but great fun. You look at the interior now, you'll see there are a few differences around here. Check these sport seats. I mean, they're bolstered over here. They really are. You got the two-tone, the tan color with the black, fully electric adjustable, obviously including, you've also got this bolster over here for you as well if you want. You can just see it's different. It's got just something more. The M badge, of course, in the center of the seat over there. But it's this contrast all the time. The standard X3 and then so many differences. And jumping inside, you just look at the dash even, and you'll see, for example, the M1 and M2 buttons. Without being horrible, Madness 1, Madness 2, you want to call them that? I don't know, but it's the M settings that you get. The paddles over there, the bright red button over here for the stop-start. You can see where the differences come in. The M3 Competition badge down there as well, on over here where you've got, of course, this closing section. And then there's a big difference over here. It's the 8-speed automatic transmission, but it's slightly different to the standard BMW one. And you can see it's just sport all the way. Over here, These buttons, it's not your normal comfort, eco and sport. You can see, you can set up, of course, your steering, your suspension and your engine management and engine mapping. You set those individually. That's where you get all these differences and advantages and things like that. All the differences on this car compared to the usual X3. And of course that is where it comes in, and we're going to talk about it in a second, where of course the price can be a bit different as well. Let's just look at a few more features and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You can hear the crackle and pop. And that's again this engine and the difference, and you can hear exactly what it sounds like. And it really makes a big difference overall, doesn't it? You have a look on the center over here and you'll see, for example, I want to just show you, well, don't worry about that, it's showing 26 liters per 100, but that's right now. But this is not a car you worry about fuel consumption. But I can tell you, on the open road, we ran it at about 9 liters per 100. But you know what? It's the kind of car who cares, who actually gives a damn about fuel consumption when you've got a car with this kind of performance. Heads-up display on the car. It's got all these things that come as standard on the vehicle, and I'm going to just take a look at a spec sheet over here and tell you, for example, some of the optional equipment, because it's got active seat ventilation. For example, the special sport seats would cost you an extra 20,900 rand. Driving assist plus and park assist plus are extras on this car as well, and you'll pay another 26,000 rand for those. But it's got so much standard equipment as well, and that's what makes all the difference. You can just see this is a special car. The extras on this particular car we're driving now come in at about 71,000 rand, which by current standards is not that bad on a car of this sort. But it's what the performance is available on this car compared to the standard versions. As I said, it fits into that almost crazy category of SUVs that seem to be springing out from a lot of the manufacturers now, where is it an SUV? Is it a sports car? Is it a this? Is it a that? It's got all the space, it's got all the room, it's got all the comfort, but it's got the power and the crazy power that you can want and use. Well, question, when can you use it? But let's not go into that right now either. It's a very different story. What one's got to keep in mind, of course, with this car, and this is where only you can decide, is obviously the ride is a lot harder. And would you want that on a day-to-day? I don't know, your choice. But let me tell you, is it ever but planted on the road when you're driving? I took it down through my favorite sweep and curve last night, and of course with the all-wheel drive that BMW have on this thing, it just sits on the road and you're not going to unsettle it unless you're being really silly, because it's got all of that if you want it and if you want to play with it. Well, what's the price for the privilege of a car like this? That's of course where you've also got to always think about it so carefully and consider very carefully. The base price currently is 1.64 million rand. As this one is on the road right now, you're looking at about the 1.7 million rand mark. So difficult to compare to anything else, because you want this kind of performance potential, shall I call it, and the acceleration and the responsiveness, etc. Well, yeah, there are a couple of competitors we all know, from Mercedes, from Audi, etc. They're there if you want them, and they're all going to cost you similar kind of money. It's a very special category, this one, that either you want it or you don't, and either you're going to enjoy it or you won't. It's an X3. It's got the quality of the X3. You can see the soft touch, the stitching, the fittings, the mock carbon fiber over here. It's got all of those things. I don't even have to go into all of it. It's got everything you want from a top level medium-sized SUV in the luxury premium class. But it's got that 375 kilowatts under the bonnet as well. Your choice. Lots of fun. That's all I can say. For Motor Matters, I'm Eleanor, and I'll see you next time.